event live on HBO, I would like to call up to the podium a good friend of mine. Peter, you did mention the Cold War being over. Well, this is just an indication that we at Golden Boy Promotions are willing to work with any promoter out there in the world just to make the fights that the fans deserve. And so it is my pleasure and my privilege to introduce to you the Vice President of Boxing Operations for Top Rank, that is Carl Moretti. Carl.
Thank you, Oscar. Let me just echo those words. It's a lot easier working in Las Vegas with Bob when these fights can be put together fairly easily, which this one is. We also have another fight coming together on December 13th at another venue in Las Vegas between Jose Benavides and Mauricio Herrera. So it's just more evidence that what Oscar said is true, and we look forward to making bigger and better fights. Before I talk about this opening fight, somebody asked me, when was the last time a light heavyweight fight of this importance came about? And I didn't think about it until he asked the question. And I came up with when Michael Spinks fought Dwight Muhammad Cowie back in 1983, where there was this much talk about it and you really didn't know who was going to win the fight going in. HBO aired it. It took place at Convention Hall next door. Larry Hazzard was the referee. And Bernard might have fought a 6-rounder on that card, I'm not sure. But it just brings back what I think this fight holds true for Saturday night is I don't know who's going to win. My heart's always with main events, but I'm done picking against Bernard Hopkins, but I don't know who's going to win this fight. That's why I'm looking forward to it. There you go. To the opening fight that night, you don't want to say, we're going to steal the show and everything, but I just think with this type of fight, with experience versus youth, something always happens that turns out that you don't expect it. And in the welterweight division, any fight that you can make is a good fight because it always leads to something next. Saddam Ali's got some of the fastest hands in boxing. He's a little bit inexperienced, it's okay. Abregu's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can knock holes in the wall. So that's what makes this fight so interesting. So let me bring him up just to say a few words right now. He's probably the best puncher in the welterweight division, one of the hardest guys to match. Please say hello to Luis Carlos Abregu.
Bueno, hola, ¿qué tal? Buenas tardes. Bueno, nada, quiero agradecer a las empresas, a las organizaciones, a Top Rank, Golden Boy y a todos los organizadores de esta pelea por convocarme y por hacerme parte de este gran festival.
First of all, good afternoon to everybody. Thanks for having me here. I want to thank Top Rank, I want to thank Golden Boy, and everybody that helped put this together, HBO and all the staff too.
Bueno, y también a Saddam Ali, darle las gracias por aceptar esta pelea. La verdad, bueno, los conozco, son buenas personas, pero bueno, el deporte nos puso en competencia y bueno, hay que competir y nada, después creo que todo es normal, el deporte es así, cuando hay que disputar una pelea. Creo que a la hora de pelear nos vamos a tirar todo,
I also want to thank Saddam Ali and his team. They're very good people. This is a sport, and in the ring we're going to fight. After the fight, it'll be all back to normal again. We'll be friends again, but in the fight, it's going to be a fight.
Bueno, los que vieron mi pelea ya conocen mi estilo. Soy un boxeador que se brinda para el público, un boxeador que va al frente, un boxeador que busca la victoria, un boxeador que busca también de dar espectáculo para todos aquellos que van a mirar boxeo, así que esperemos que la pelea del sábado salga muy buena y que nos brindemos ambos para pelear.
And you all know my style. I'm here to give the fans a great fight. let's just both put it together, give everybody what they're here to see, and wish the best man.
Bueno, bueno, desde ya creo que bueno, no tengo mucho para decir. Creo que todo lo que hay que decir va a quedar ya para el día sábado arriba del ring. Así que bueno, desde ya muchas gracias a todos y nos vemos el sábado 8.
Now there's not much more to say. Let's leave it for Saturday night, and I want to thank everybody and tune in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, I would like to introduce you to Team Ali. First off, let me acknowledge, and he is in attendance, he is the father of Saddam Ali's, that is David Ali. David, you here? Just want to acknowledge. Also, at this moment, let me acknowledge who's not in attendance, Andre Rosier, who is Saddam Ali's trainer, who does oh, here he is right there, does a wonderful job in obviously preparing Saddam and getting him in the best shape possible for this fight on Saturday. Saddam World Kid Ali, he hails out of Brooklyn, New York. He has a perfect record of 20 fights with 12 knockouts. He was a member of the Olympic team in 2008 for the US. He's looking forward to make a huge statement on such an important event on Saturday night. And Saddam has been really taking the world by storm, fighting in Brooklyn, fighting in his hometown, in front of his hometown fans, and really progressing in a way where we felt that this is his perfect opportunity to shine. He's facing, yes, a tough fighter in Abregu. We all understand that, but we believe in Saddam's abilities to adapt. We believe in Saddam's abilities to do whatever it takes to win a fight. Here's a fighter who has experience, who has been in there with different styles. He has faced fighters who can bang, fighters who can box. So I believe Saddam is a fighter who is the total package in terms of being a complete fighter. He can box, he can fight, he can adapt to anything. So let me introduce to you, with a record of 20-0 and 12 knockouts, out of Brooklyn, New York, that's Saddam World Kid Ali.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited to be on Undercard with Hopkins and Kovalev. It's going to be a great fight. It's a motivation. Every time I'm on the card with Hopkins, you know, he's making history, and it motivates me. I'm very excited for this fight. It's going to be great. I want to thank Golden Boy. I want to thank HBO for having me. I want to thank all the promoters for getting back together, because that's the most important thing. You know, with boxing, we got to stick together. We got to make things happen. I want to thank Carlos Abregu and his team. This is going to be a great fight. We want to show the fans a great fight. I'm excited about that, and I'm just ready to put on a show. You know, everybody has their chance to be a star, and this is my chance. I've been boxing for 18 years, and this is my time. I'm ready. Thank you.
All right, and now for the main event, let me call up to the podium once again, Kathy Duva. Kathy.
So, you know, I learned a lot about Bernard Hopkins in the lead up to this fight. You know, he's been around a long time, and what was that? He's been around a long time, and you know, he knows how to get your attention. So he does. I learned a lot about him in this fight, and some of it came when I read the ESPN magazine body issue. You remember that, right? That's cool. So anyway, so this ESPN Body magazine came out, and we all learned a lot about Bernard, probably more than I would have liked. But as you all know, the press at least, you realize that we have a tradition here at Main Events of producing Sergey swag every time he fights. We've done hats, shirts, socks. So we got to the inevitable place where there's really only one thing left. And in light of Bernard's recent magazine spread, we thought this was incredibly appropriate to give to him as a gift. These are these Sergey Kovalev boxers. Get it? They're boxers. For you. You're very welcome. If you find yourself in need, that's good. I also learned something else when I read the latest issue of the New York Times Magazine about Bernard. He is, of course, a follower of the great Sun Tzu, and you know what? Believe it or not, so am I. He is my favorite author. And I gotta say, Sun Tzu, he wrote the book on the art of war, and he got me through some tough times. One of them, I'll just give you out gratuitously because it's one of my favorite quotes. If you wait by the river long enough, the bodies of your enemies will float by. And I am proud to say that I've got to watch quite a few of them, more than I ever thought I would. He also explains why these two great warriors would take this fight eons before they were born. He said, never venture, never win. And that's why we know they're both going to be winners. And as we all know, Bernard, more than anyone, knows that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. And that is the area where he clearly excels. And he could have written his own book about it, probably. But I'm afraid, Bernard, you may not have been studying hard enough. There were comments this week about how I think it was John David Jackson couldn't teach him to win this fight because he failed the test or something. And yet, Bernard, you forgot that Sun Tzu said, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. And another point that kind of jumped out at me the other day when I was reviewing that book, critics tell us that Sergey is bound to lose because Bernard's defense is just too good. And yet, Sun Tzu said, but standing on the defensive indicates insufficient strength, attacking a superabundance of strength. Sergey has been criticized in the press because some say he doesn't have a game plan. But of course, Bernard, somebody did translate that book into Russian. Tzu says, let your plans be dark and impenetrable as night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. And Bernard, you should be expecting a thunderbolt on Saturday. People have asked me why it was so easy to make this fight, and really this quote kind of crystallizes why. It says, those skilled at making the enemy move, they entice him with something he is certain to take, with lures of ostensible profit, and they await him in strength. And I think both guys plan on that happening. And but having said all that, while the art of war is about winning before the battle starts, I don't believe either one of Saturday's combatants have managed to subdue the other without fighting. And my experience tells me when that happens, that means that on Saturday we are really going to have a fight. And in the end, there's one thing I'm sure of. As Sun said, as Zeus said, Sun, my friend, we're on a first name basis now. It is easy to love your friend, but sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is to love your enemy. And I have no doubt that no matter what Sergey and Bernard think of each other at this moment, when that final bell rings on Saturday night, B-Hop and Crusher will learn to love each other just as much as we love them. And now I am going to introduce to you the gentleman who went to the foothills on the east side of the Ural Mountains, in the foothills of Siberia, to find a gentleman that I've been looking for all my life, and I want to thank him for that. He is a tremendous manager, in my opinion, the best manager in the world. He should be the manager of the year this year. I don't know how you don't give it to him. He is a spectacularly good businessman and a great friend. Egis Klimas.
Thank you, Kathy. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Atlantic City. The moment, finally, this moment is happening. We can already start counting hours. How many hours left till the moment, until the two greatest, and I mean really greatest, the best fighters in light heavyweight division in the world are going to stand up in the ring. Then we started with Sergey, professional boxing. We only can hear stories about Bernard Hopkins. We never thought it's happening because we were so behind this great legend boxer. But as I say, we can start ours now until it's going to happen. I wanted to thank Bernard for taking this fight. He could choose a completely different, easier road to show he's a really champion, really good fighter, but he chose the hard way to do it. I wanted to thank Golden Boy Promotions for putting this fight together, HBO, Caesar Palace of hosting this fight. I wanted to thank media for letting all world know about what's going to happen on November 8th. I wanted to thank our promoter, Duva, for taking care of Sergey and our team. I wanted to thank Sergey Kovalev, Crusher, team, trainers, sparring partners who participated, who helped for this bout. And then I say team, I just didn't mean the trainers and sparring partners. I mean all the people came to support from all the United States, from Russia, from all over the world to support Sergey. And my biggest thank, of course, to my fighter Sergey Kovalev for being as a good athlete, professional boxer, a good human being. I also wanted to congratulate him in front of everybody. He just became a father on October 20th. He hasn't seen his son. I am the first who had to see a son. I am the first who had to carry that kid into my lap. But anyway, looking forward for November 8th for the good bout, and looking forward to see you. Thank you.
Thank you, Agus. And now, one of the best young trainers in boxing, former junior middleweight champion, tremendous fighter in his own right, and as I referred to earlier, while he was, he fought Bernard, he trained Bernard. He wasn't able to win that fight, but he does know how to conquer. John David Jackson.
It's a pleasure to be here once again in Atlantic City. I want to thank all those that came out for this press conference. It's good to have Mr. Hazard back at the helm once again. I used to watch him as a kid with his referee, and then as the commissioner of the Atlantic City of New Jersey. I want to thank Golden Boy and Main Event for putting this fight together. It's a fight that the fight fans want to see and they need to see. It's a fight like this that keep boxing alive. You have this young man here. He's an old veteran warrior who knows the game. He is a master teacher, and then you have the young lion here who wants to take the old man's title. And it's a fight that people need to see in boxing, and it's a fight that's intriguing. Can the old veteran retain his title, use what skills that he has left to offset what the young lion brings to the game? They could have chosen the fights instead of this fight here. But they're two gallant warriors, they want to fight each other, and that's what boxing needs, fights like this. I'm not going to talk about anything else. I respect this young man here for what he's done, he's accomplished. He's a hell of a fighter. I respect this young man for what he's accomplished in his young career, and he's going to go into bigger and greater things. So I'm going to leave the talking's done. All the stones have been unturned, all the fighting planted together, and I just want everybody that can't see the fight live, watch on HBO. It's going to be a very good fight, very entertaining fight, and it's going to be one that the fans really enjoy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And now the man, the new dad, the WBO light heavyweight champion of the world, the man with one belt who's going to enter that ring with one belt and plans to leave with 3. While there is no doubt Bernard Hopkins is a great, great fighter, all great things must come to an end, and this is the man who is here to do it. He has earned the name Crusher by stopping most of his opponents early in the fights. He is an electrifying presence in the ring, and I have no doubt that he is going to give us a show on Saturday night. Sergey Kovalev.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. First of all, I want to say thank you so much who came to press conference, to team of my promoter, Main Events, and also promoter Golden Boy, to Oscar De La Hoya, to create this fight, to make all roads, all ways to this fight. This is a huge fight in my career, in my life, against Bernard Hopkins. Bernard Hopkins is a legend. He's professor of the boxing. He's professor of professional boxing. And this fight, dangerous for me also, how fight dangerous for him, myself. And November 8th on HBO in Atlantic City will be a very great show, very interesting fight. And I hope that this fight will be very fair, very clean, and very honest. Thank you so much again to everybody, and welcome to Orla Hall Arena, and welcome to HBO.
Thank you very much. Now, Team Hopkins. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you the man who is a genius, who is a great trainer, who is a master planner, and that is Nazim Richardson. Nazim.
Assalamu alaikum. I'd like to thank everybody coming out and congratulate this young man on the birth of his child. Nothing greater than that. For everybody showing up, asking his kind words. There's not too much we can say about Bernard Hopkins that hasn't already been said. I mean, you know, you've been around a long time when you got Kathy Duva throwing draws at you. You know, you've been around a long time when you outlast your nickname. I mean, for real, we're gonna have to think about this. In my opinion, this fight puts the alien in the Hall of Fame. The execution is already in there. But this is a special athlete we're looking at. And like I said, we have a tendency to say he's the oldest champion in boxing. This man is the oldest champion in any sport. This is why he's one of the greatest athletes that's ever lived. We can't even reduce him to boxing anymore. He's no longer just ours. You know, and what we have to look at and we have to expect Saturday is Crusher Kovalev. I've seen some of his fights, and this kid punches exceptionally hard. When people ask, what's the danger, what's this, what's that, this kid punches exceptionally hard. You know, he's a talented athlete when it comes to that. I've seen this man face punches before. I've seen him face boxers. He's faced everything except for Fan Man falling out the ceiling. So Saturday, I tell you to come out and see one of the greatest athletes of all time. Bernard Hopkins, the alien, the executioner, B-Hop, whatever your favorite segment was during his career. This is a special athlete we're looking at. And what I don't want, and I beg you, Sunday, I don't want anybody to declaw or defang or de-wing Kovalev. I don't want to hear all of a sudden it was this and he was that and then it was a mind game. And I don't want to hear any of that. Yeah, he hasn't fought anybody yet, and Bernard was just too wise for him, or, you know, there was a period of time where we thought Bernard stepped on his toe. I don't want to hear any of that. Y'all watch this kid, y'all say he's a killer, y'all see he's a killer, y'all see the information behind him is genuine, so there's absolutely no excuse for this man not to come out and do what he's been doing. It's what he's supposed to do, it's what's expected of him. And anything different from that is less. You know, Kovalev is a killer. If you see this kid step in the ring, you see a back step, something went wrong. Literally. Stop. All y'all know this guy, so I don't have to apologize. But like I said, you see a back step in this kid, man, something's wrong. Because he don't do that. I mean, he comes in like a tank and he wears you out and puts war to you. So anything less than that, something's going wrong. But I thank y'all for your time, your patience. I thank our team for the alien, from Kelly to Danny to all my entire team over there. Like I tell him, congratulations on your son. I have the privilege to have my baby bear out there with us too. So thank you guys, thank you for your time and your patience. Oh, and that small part, no, I ain't saying nothing about that, but I'm gonna let everybody watch him. Pronounce his name again, Nazim. Shabransky. Put your hand up, son.
That's Iron Fist. Iron Fist.
Y'all watch that kid Saturday. He's a beast. All right, and don't forget Saddam Ali Comments. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much, Nazim. What can I say about a legend, a living legend? He is the current WBA and IBF light heavyweight world champion. He's obviously a future Hall of Famer, shattering records left and right. You know, one thing about Bernard Hopkins is talk about perseverance, talk about never giving up, talk about fighting for what's right. You know, I mean, you can go on and on and on about Bernard Hopkins, of what a perfect example of an athlete that he is. You know, Hopkins breathes and sleeps and eats boxing. That's what he does. That's the difference between the fighters and Hopkins. Hopkins is in a class of his own. You know, Hopkins, we're never going to see probably another Hopkins in our lifetime inside the ring. That's how special he is. And I'm not just saying that because he knocked me out, I don't know how many years ago. But that's who Hopkins is. 2006. Thank you. 2006. You know, he makes you believe. There's something about his psychological game plan that it puts you in a trance. It changes your psyche. It does something to you that, I mean, I couldn't, it caught me by surprise, you know? It caught me by surprise. And so, but that's what Hopkins is, you know? We know he's a physically strong and fast and agile and everything. We know that about him, but here, there's nobody like him. There is nobody like him. So my experience being and having the privilege to step into the ring with Bernard Hopkins, it's an experience that you can't prepare for. It's an experience that it is impossible to prepare for, because you're going to go fight. You're going to fight Hopkins, yes, but how are you going to deal with his brain power, you know, with his mind? How are you going to deal with that? With his plan A, plan B, plan C? I mean, those are all the questions I ask myself after the fight, you know. He has plan A, he has plan B, he has plan C. He knows when to turn it up, when to turn it down. Everything is calculated, and that's what makes him great. So let me introduce to you, without any further ado, and he's breaking records left and right, and everybody knows the defenses he's made. That is amazing, historical. Again, we're never going to see it again. Let me call up to the podium a living legend with a record of 55-6, 32 knockouts out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Bernard the Alien Hopkins.
First, I'd like to thank everyone that spoke earlier about how this fight got put together, from the officials and everybody from Atlantic City, and also the fighters that made this fight happen and the promoters that made this fight happen. So I don't have to go over those names or anything because it's already mentioned 2 or 3 times. So, but one thing that I want to start off saying is that this is not in the Sinzu book that Kathy Duva, not Duva, but Duva. The Irish thinks she's Duva. She's in a sort of called the man sport, but she held her own. So I think out of respect, I call her Diva, but it is Duva. At the same time, one thing that's not in the Sinzu book, as I should get back to that, I was told by a wise lady, Shirley May Hopkins, my mother, late mother, said you never argue or debate with a woman. Some men can concur on that. And so I would not have a cat fight or a dog-cat fight with her. But what I will say is this. I think I talked pretty clear for almost 72 fights. When I hear or read or ask a question about you didn't have to take this fight, you could have took any other fight. Have y'all really paid attention to my career? See, I fear Allah. And I respect all religions. I don't care what politics you might have on your side. I don't care who's sitting at your table, who's not sitting at your table. I went against the grain. When you deal with a man, take the champion and put him to the side. And you're dealing with a spirit that I carry with me from personal life to here. All that comes in the ring and it comes together and it comes in my life. An opponent, whoever it is, fast, slick, puncher, no puncher, or all above. You gotta face all these intangibles that I bring to the ring. This ain't about just being an athlete, a sport, a boxer, or whatever it is. It's something separate that attached to what I do physically as my occupation, who made me who I am in sports. But as a man and who I am has been there from 1965 when I was born January 15 on King's Day. I've been special ever since. And so when I hear this rhetoric and I hear this stuff from human beings, y'all humans, because you know I'm an alien. It doesn't surprise me because I know y'all don't know me. And that's why the question is, you didn't have to take this fight, why is he here, why is that? Y'all must don't really know me. Unless it's a soundbite, then I can go ahead and give you half of you didn't know. I can give you 100% to let you off the hook. I want to acknowledge Jory Foreman, who's a good pioneer in boxing in Jersey. Be disrespectful for me not to say salute you. Also, you have as I see, because my eyes are still good, I do scan the floor before I even walked in here. I know the ring like I know this building. And that's not because I've been here multiple times, just I believe in being very observant. And I believe in looking people in the eye. I believe in looking people from their feet to their head, body language, the whole 9 yards. But at the end of the day, Kathy Duva said one thing, and we're going to fight, and we understand that. I understand that. War is war. Abel Sanchez, that's why I say my eyes is good. He understands my thinking. He's been there twice. He also had him really early in his career. So anything that he might or might not, I'm not accusing him, he can give us some advice. I hope it's a good one. Or he better hope it's a good one. I don't mind pitting my wits with anybody's wits in the game of boxing today, because I've been taught and trained by a lot of great fighters, some in the penitentiary. The late great Boy Fisher, who probably would never get his due. The Nazim Richardson, who's been with me 20 plus years. The Smokey Wilson, who was my mentor in Brady Ford State Penitentiary. Many of y'all done stories or read the story about him. See, I am strange to y'all in a way that not as strange as something strange about me, but y'all are curious about how I can do it, but I'm telling you, I know y'all just don't know me. And that's cool. John David Jackson says to everybody that he talks to, from my, allegedly, what I've read, he knows everything about me. Well, Kovalev, Sergey is the student. Let's just deal with logic here. It's education right now. This ain't rah, rah, rah. I've done that already. I've been through that in my career already. I've been through all this. I'm so calm and relaxed now, but I still got that hunger to prove. I just don't have that stage of fighting the system. See, when people say you fight in Atlantic City, I'm gonna get back to John David Jackson, but when people say, well, you fight in Atlantic City, this and that, there's no favorites. When people, they try to put this deception in the air, as Sergey said, this is a fair fight. You're the crusher. You make your own fair fight. See, that's what I was born from. See, when people try to sit sound bites and innuendos and what they call sublines, and they try to put seeds out there, and I just want it to be a fair fight. I'm the crusher. I'm killing everybody. I'm knocking everybody out, but I just want to see a fair fight. What is the deception you're trying to plant that seed? See, psychological warfare, trust me, you would never win. Love me or hate me, everybody on this side knows you would never win that. And there's people here known me for over 15 years. So when you want to start dropping seeds, I don't care, Larry can be over there, the president can be over there, Obama could be over there. I don't care who's sitting over there. That's no sign to me. You know what that says? See, when Joe Dazaki came from Europe, and they gave him a split decision, and he's from Wales, and I'm from the United States. Ain't nobody, my friend, when I step in that ring, I'm at war with everybody. That's the way I think. And if I wasn't right in that thinking, at least 90% or more than 100, Allah wouldn't have me here. I wouldn't have been so simple because I'm not that damn lucky. So where does this come from, y'all human beings? Y'all haven't figured it out yet? I'm telling y'all every day. Y'all asking me every day. I have no secrets. I am the cleanest athlete that ever been cleaned in any other sport that ever been. You go back and look at your old literature that you wrote or the old conversations that we had. There's a lot of people here that have been around, been interviewing me for years. Remind yourself every now and then who you're dealing with. And then you can say, well, I asked him that 15 years ago. So I'm looking for a fight. I'm looking for a fight like I look for every fight. But it amazed me, doesn't disappoint me, he didn't have to take this fight. You think I'm a charity case? When I hear this disrespect, see, this sudden, and I hope people know what that means, disrespectful words, because words mean a lot. They say a lot of things. You just got to know which one to pick and what they're attaching it to. I've been wise to figure that out. When it comes to this, I don't care, anybody in this building will not beat me, fight or no fight. I'm saying in front of their face. Because I came in here as a man, I came out of here as a man, I'm going to die as a man. When it comes to this, strong willpower and my work ethics and who I believe that got my back, even when y'all run like roaches in y'all little corners and talk amongst y'all political world, keep watching me. And I'm going to get you anyway, in time. That's why I've been here. Until y'all understand that, y'all atheists. Until y'all understand that, I'm going to send y'all to the grave, because a lot of people